About 3.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. It was a very rare type of cancer, and they didn't have any research on it, so they didn't know what to do, so they threw everything at me. And I got this before I found out about Dr. Joe. So I did the, the cut, burn, and poison. I did the treatment. And when I was involved with the chemo, the poison part, I developed several deep vein thrombosis in my lower leg and one big one in my upper leg, on my right leg.
You know what that is? Like clots, yeah?
Clots. And so they were really quite concerned because clots are pretty dangerous. You know, they break off and you get a pulmonary embolism, and you get a stroke, etc. Anyway.
If they shake loose, they're going to find another place to go, and they usually go to the lungs or the brain, and that's when it gets troublesome. Yes? So
Yes.
there's a lot of concern about monitoring them and making sure those clots don't mobilize.
Yes. So I was not allowed to do many things, like cross my legs, watch exercise, and I was put on a lot of anticoagulants, which I hated. And so that went on and on and on. And then I got involved with Dr. Joe's stuff, and I started meditating every day. And I meditated every day for 3 years. How about that?
Did you like it?
Not all the time, no. No.
Go ahead.
And then I didn't do it every day for a little bit. And then I went to Toronto, and then with wonderful Paula, and then went to Cancun. And in Cancun, I asked to have healing. And I was lucky enough to be selected. And so I had this amazing, 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 amazing healing in Cancun. But I forgot to tell you, before that, when I would come up to dance, and I could only dance for a little while, and then my leg would ache. And it would ache and ache and ache. And then I'd sit down, and then I'd get up and dance, because I love to dance. And I mean, what do we do here besides dance? Meditate and dance. So,
Anyway, if you have clots, thrombosis, then if you exercise, the muscle tissue demands oxygen, nutrients, and the clots are dead ends. So you have pain because the tissue is not getting oxygen. That's why you feel that kind of pain. Take the blood thinners, you know, the anticoagulants, to help circulate blood a little bit quicker so that tissues get delivered the proper nutrients and oxygen. But when there's exertion, then it gets troublesome.
yes. So, after my healing...
Well, wait a second. So what happened to you when you were in the cage?
Oh, what didn't happen to me? It started off, and I'm a trauma therapist, so I know how the body kind of unwinds. I know what it's like to release energy from the sympathetic. So I kind of thought maybe that's what would happen. But all of a sudden, I got hit with a bolt, and it just surged up and down my body. I could not believe it. And it did whatever it wanted with my body. My head was going. I thought, oh, my God, this is The Exorcist. It was round
In a
and
sense, it may have been.
And it was absolutely, absolutely amazing.
Now, were you in any pain, or was it blissful and joyful?
It was joyful. And then I got filled with all this love, and then...
Wait. Let's just not coast over that. So the emotion that you were feeling was this incredible love, yes?
Yes.
and you were not being touched the entire
No,
time?
no.
Okay.
And so I got filled with all this incredible love and joy. I had such joy. And then it was like, I remember lying there, and they still had their hands out, and I don't know exactly what they were doing, but I thought, I have got to give this back. These people have been so wonderful. And so I took my hands and I tried to scoop. I tried to scoop up the love and put it back to them. My eyes were still closed because they had done such an amazing job.
So
And
you
I-
feel love, you feel joy, you feel gratitude. What do you want to do? Give it back.
So it was wonderful. It was just amazing, and I love those people. Some of them are here because they were on a team, and they were just absolutely wonderful. And then I was able to dance, and I didn't get my leg didn't hurt, and I was able to wear boots. Oh, I was going to bring my boots, but I didn't. I was able, because before I could only get the one done up, and I couldn't get the other one done up because it was too tight, and these are really good boots. So now I can wear them. I have them here, I'll wear them tomorrow. They are, oh my God, they're fabulous boots.
You wear them.
I will. And so then I got a message from Lindsay saying, what happened? Did you notice anything from your Coherence Healing? So I went to my thrombosis specialist, who had told me I was going to have to be on anticoagulants for the rest of my life.
The voodoo curse.
And so I went and I asked him for another ultrasound. And so I went and had the ultrasound, and the technicians were so delightful. They told me that there was absolutely nothing and no scar tissue left. So,
Change the field,
yeah.
change matter. Now, where did those clots go?
Somewhere.
Where's the pattern? Where's the pattern? Here, yes? It appears as a clot here, but the pattern's in the light. Get beyond the light, become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, and no time. Hook up to a frequency. Open your heart. Feel love. Create a coherent field. Create an orderly pattern, a new pattern, a complex order of coherent intersecting or interfering energy. And anything that's in this pattern that's not consistent with that level of order is going to literally unravel back into energy. Are you with me still? And that pattern is going to reorganize the tissue, and you're going to have an instantaneous change. How many people understand? Then what?
Then I don't have to be on anticoagulants ever, ever, ever again.
I just want to see the boots.
Yeah.
Now, tell the part two of the story.
Part two of the story actually happened before, and it was in Toronto. Where's Wendy? My friend Wendy. She was I guess she was sort of like a midwife for me in my courage. I wasn't a healee. I was a healer in Toronto. And I have lived my life with so many food allergies. I couldn't travel anywhere. I had to take all my own food because it's dangerous for me to eat in a restaurant, and I have to keep an EpiPen and blah, 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 blah. So, and I've had that for years. And especially to egg and to dairy and to peanuts. And so I'm just doing the healing, like we're taught to do, and we do it. So then the thing is over, the workshop's over, and I stayed for an extra couple of days to kind of settle in. And Wendy and I are out in the market, in the cheese section of the market, and I used to love cheese, but I haven't been able to eat cheese for years. So we're walking along, and they've got these, you know how they do it with these samples? They give you these little samples, and I'm walking along, and I just think, pardon my French, fun it, I am going to try some cheese. And so Wendy looked at me and she said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yep." She said, "Do you have your EpiPen?" I said, "Yep." And I went back to the guy, because we'd walked past. I went back to the guy and I said, "Could I please try some cheese?" So he gave me one. And she said, "How will we know?" And I said, "We'll know in like seconds, minutes. Don't worry about it. We'll know." So I try this cheese, and I am just in heaven, because I had just decided before then, I'm going to do this. I am going to do this. Something is different. I didn't know what was different, but I knew I was different. And so I tasted, and oh my God, it was heaven. It was just absolute heaven. And I finished it, and Wendy's looking at me like, "Okay, how are you doing? How are you doing?" "I'm fine, honey, I'm fine." And so I went back and asked for another one. And then we started on the cheese journey through Toronto. And we bought all kinds of cheese. You'll have no idea. That's why I've got this, because I've started eating all this cheese. And then we went to a lot of different restaurants. We went to a vegan restaurant, and I had soup that I've never had before. I haven't tried egg yet because I'm just not there yet, but that's coming. That's coming.
Maybe after you heal someone today, you'll have an egg.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I bought blocks of cheese. And we packed them all up, got out to the airport, and I go through, and all of a sudden, it goes through the X-ray machine, and it's like, "Oh, you're not supposed to carry pasty stuff like that on the plane." And they say, "Whose bag is this? Whose bag is this?" And I'm going, "Oh." So I go up, and the guy is there, and he's looking at me and saying, "No, I don't think you should, this is cheese." And I said, "You have no idea what that cheese means to me."
You know how this story's gonna go.
And so I tell him my story, and I'm crying, sobbing away, because I think he's going to take my cheese. So, long story short, I'm still eating cheese, and he let me bring the cheese back. Yes, man, he's an angel.
Now, do you understand that in her simplicity, by applying the formula of doing the coherence healing, that if she was tuning into a frequency and her nervous system was facilitating that frequency, her nervous system could actually send signals to the immune system, to all the other systems of the body as she's raising her energy. We know that your immune system is going to get stronger when you feel gratitude. Imagine if you really loved somebody into life and you were all in during the healing. It's entirely possible that you can heal yourself when you heal someone else. Yes or no? And that's a good way sometimes to heal, because you're getting yourself out of the way in order to give. And that's the perfect frequency that starts the process. How many people understand? Isn't she beautiful? From a theoretical standpoint, the reversal of a clot or clots that exist in somebody's leg, is it any different than a tumor? Would you say that the pattern of the tumor exists here? The pattern of the clot exists here? The pattern of the food allergy exists here? The pattern of a heart condition exists here? So most people are still thinking that they have to change the tumor. They have to change the clot. It's just a pattern that exists in the field that isn't consistent with order. It's not consistent with harmony or harmonics of order. So then you get to a faster frequency, and all of a sudden you get 8 people putting a very coherent signature. And that intersecting pattern begins to create a more complex level of order. And that level of order is going to unravel anything that's not orderly. It's going to cause it to unravel into chaos or into disorder. And if it's there long enough, the pattern's there long enough, it's going to reorganize it into order. So then cells, brain tissue, lungs, leaves, all of those different things in nature have the same pattern, same similar fractal patterns. So then when you begin to change the pattern of an imbalance in the field, it's going to reorganize the pattern in matter. Does that make sense to you? So it doesn't matter if it's a tumor or a clot. It's just an imbalanced pattern or disorderly pattern that you get to create order with. So you should never be intimidated by the condition. You should just be willing to go to a greater level of order or oneness and wholeness and heal from that place.